Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming to the City of Aiken Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. Before we get started tonight, I'm going to read the guidelines for public comments for the City of Aiken Planning Commission meetings. Meetings are public forums in which many opinions are expressed and the business of the city must be conducted. As such, discipline, honorable, and professional decorum is paramount. Courteous and respectful communication is required. During public comment periods of the meeting, all questions and statements from the public shall be directed to the chairman, and if you wish to speak, please raise your hand, and the chairman will recognize you. Please approach the podium and please state your name and address for the record. In order to allow an opportunity for everyone who wishes to address the commission, speakers should limit their comments to the agenda item or the application being discussed. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to address an issue and may only address an issue once unless questions from the commission are posed to the speaker. Okay, we're on item I of the schedule to review and approve the work session and the meeting minutes from February 13th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the work session regular meeting minutes of February 13th, 2024, make a motion to approve with the corrected item of, in the first paragraph, reviewed at the June meeting should be reviewed at the January meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Raven, second from Commissioner Erb. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor raise your hand, and it's unanimous. Yeah. Okay, a couple things before we get into the new business. For application C, which is application number 24-91002, this is the public project review for the Savannah River National Laboratory application. We're going to move this agenda item down to the very last item. We're waiting on one more commissioner to show up from a work travel. And so to give them some time to hopefully get here, we're going to move that down to the last item. Tonight, as we approach these applications, I'm going to ask the applicant to come up and have a brief minute to discuss the application, and then we'll give everybody an opportunity to speak in favor or against these comments. We'll give you 5 minutes, which will be a time session up on the clock. Once you reach close to 5 minutes, if you're still going, I'll raise my hand just to give you an idea. But we want to give everybody equal an opportunity time to speak tonight. So please try to keep your comments to 5 minutes as you're approaching the commission. Okay, application number 24-20018. This is an annexation request of residential single-family conservation to RS15 residential single-family for tax map parcel number 105-18-13-001. This is on Vivion Drive. So I have an applicant here to speak on behalf of this. Okay, anybody to speak for or against this application? Comments? Okay, commissioners, do I have a motion?
And with regards to application 24-20018, annexation request for tax parcel 105-18-13-001, current zoning RC residential single family conservation, proposed city zoning RS15 residential single family. I recommend we move this to approval to city council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Simmons and a second by Commissioner Matthews. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor raise your hand. Like sign opposed, and it's unanimous. Okay, item B, this is application number 24-2009. This is an annexation for residential single-family conservation to RS10. This is tax map parcel number 122-09-02-004 on Marvin Drive. Is the applicant here tonight to speak on behalf of this application? Okay, any of those in favor or against this application? Comments? Okay, commissioners, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to application number 24-20019, annexation request, tax parcel number 122-09-02-004, current zone RC, proposed zoning RS-10, and it is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and there is no possible condition. I move that we send this to council for approval.
Second.
Okay, approval or second, or motion by Commissioner Matthews, second by Commissioner Erb. Comments? All those in favor, raise your hand. Like, sign, opposed, and it's unanimous. Okay, as I mentioned before, we're gonna skip item C, for now, and move straight into item D. I'll make sure you get. Okay. Item D is application number 24-22005. This is, current zoning is office, and they're looking to go to plan residential with a concept plan for a multifamily development for tax map parcel number 087-18-08-008 on Gregg Highway and Lokey Drive by Taft Mills Group. Is the applicant here tonight to speak on behalf of this? Yes, sir, please.
Good evening. I'm looking forward to presenting what we're calling the Cedar Ridge Trace multifamily housing development to you tonight. I'm Nate Broman Folks. I'm with the Taft Mills Group. We're real estate developers, specialize in workforce housing development. Proud to say that we are ranked a top 50 workforce housing developer in the country. And we have done a lot of developments. Our principals have done over 100 communities in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland. And we're really excited to be able to have a project here in Aiken. So just a quick overview of the site. We are proposing 80 multifamily housing units. So that would be a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. It would be workforce housing. So we're talking folks who have careers but aren't making enough with their salary to afford most market rate homes. So we're talking first year teachers, firefighters, servers at your favorite restaurant, folks making about $20,000 to $55,000 that can afford to pay $400 to $1,200 a month or so. And this is the type of product that we provide. Very high quality housing that's going to look like just about any other market rate multifamily development. We do provide a lot of amenities on our site. We're proposing a clubhouse, a business center, covered picnic area, playground, community garden, a rain garden with a walking path around it that would also double as the stormwater feature, and other recreational amenities that we're considering. We've also been talking with Eyes on Aiken on some ideas for what could really work here locally for Aiken residents for amenities. We do provide on-site property management for all of our properties. Security, of course, is one of our big priorities. So we have on-site property management that's there every day. We have security features in place, such as security cameras scattered throughout the site. They're also there to ensure that the residents have a very high quality of living, that it's a very successful community, not only for the folks living there, but for the neighbors around it. We are very cognizant, and we put a high priority on being good neighbors to the community and being an asset to the community. We do want to highlight that everything in our proposal, we believe, meets all the city's requirements. The height requirements, the density requirements were all well within the city's ranges, and we are meeting the setback requirements. We do have a significant buffer between our site, and over 50-foot wooded buffer between our property and the other properties. And we're also open to doing fencing around if that's something the city would like to see. With that being said, we do want to highlight one possible condition that's in your packet, and that's listed number 7 under possible conditions. It's the one that discusses the property changing ownership within the first 180 days. We are proposing to do a tax credit development, and as you may know, the tax credit process is lengthy. We won't even know if we get the tax credits until later in the fall, and then there are several steps that need to take place before we can really close on the property and start to build. And we have explained all this and come to agreement with the current owners of the property and the sellers. So just asking if you can either not include that as a condition or make that an 18-month condition instead of the 180 days. All that being said, we're really excited to be here in Aiken. We do think that this project aligns with your comprehensive plan, in particular in removing barriers to providing housing types that meet the diverse community here in Aiken, and provide really high quality housing that can meet the housing needs of the community. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions folks have.
Thank you. Questions from the commissioners?
Yeah. First, yes, I'd like to tell you the plan looks very nice. The layout of the buildings, the spacing of the buildings, the amenities that go along with only 80 units is substantial in my experience. So overall, it looks very good. The one concern I have is the parking. Historically, there's always a shortage of parking when it comes to visitors and even people. There may be two people in a unit, especially with a 3-bedroom that have 2 cars. This board has taken on a working ordinance for parking spaces for apartments. We haven't formally changed the ordinance yet, but we've been looking at 1.5 parking spaces per 1-bedroom unit and 2.0 parking spaces per 2- and 3-bedroom, which we feel is kind of appropriate. That would give a requirement for 154 spaces. I see you're providing 125. So I would like to recommend that you, it looks like there's areas, the entranceway on the left side of the drawing could have some parking. If you shorten up the rain garden area, you can probably have parking on both sides of the entrance, similar to what you have on the right side entrance to gain more parking spaces. I also noticed, which in terms of the ADA requirements, for up to 125 parking spaces or between 100 and 150, you only need 5 handicap spaces, and you're showing 10. I'm not sure if there's any workforce or any other ADA requirement that you're responding to, but from an ADA, it's only 5. So if you can take, of the 10 handicap spaces you're proposing, take 5 of those out and make them regular unencumbered parking spaces, that would add more to the, it wouldn't add more parking because you'll still only have 125, but it'll make them available to everyone else. So I would like to make that a condition that you add some additional parking, at least 29 more spaces to get you up to the 154. I think that's the only comment I had.
I had a question. We also like to see medians with the entrances. You've got, egress but if you could show the median on here, then we won't have to question that. I know that's a requirement the city has, so if you could make a note of that, we'll make it a condition as well.
Sure. We can add that. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And for the parking, we've proposed parking that we found meets the needs of our communities that we've developed. Could certainly look into how we might be able to fit more on there. What we've proposed has been pretty standard for what we need in our communities and has met that need so far.
Yeah, the concern always comes up with visitors. You have someone has a Super Bowl party or something, and you have 10 people coming, and there's no parking anywhere, and then they start doubling up, and it becomes a little bit of a nightmare. So if whatever there is some open space, whatever you get, if you can get that 29 additional ones, if you can get 20, that'd be great.
Okay. Yep. We can look into that.
The only other comment, in addition with the islands going in and out of the 2 driveways, my experience, I always found that your exits are always good to have a right turn slot, even if it's only 50 or so feet. That gives the person wanting to make a right-hand turn not having to wait behind someone making a left-hand turn until he frees up. So at both entrances, if you can have a small right turn slot, that would be helpful.
Okay. Yep. And we've already reached out to SCDOT to talk with them about the project, and they said to come back when it's a little more formalized or approved. Well, happy to look into that with them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody here to speak in favor of this development? Yes, ma'am.
Great evening to everyone. LaShawn Ryan, 719-18 Washington Circle, Eyes on Aiken, Executive Director. Y'all see I'm here, right?
Thank you for coming.
So yes, in favor of this. We do know that homes are needed, especially in the range that they're bringing. We were able to go out and visit that site today, and I even mentioned to them about making sure buffers and all of those things are in place, and so we need this. I'm sure they will do whatever they need to make sure that they're good with you guys as well as the city council. So I am 100% in favor, and so let's get it on.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your comments. Yeah, anybody else to speak in favor of this application? Anybody speak against this application? Comments? Yes.
Comments?
My name is Joel Johnson, 3048 Hackamore Drive, lives in Warrenville, South Carolina. I am here because I'm the only piece of property that's abutted to that, which is that portion down there at the bottom down there. My office is located over there, and back 3 years ago today, almost, we had a meeting with the Board of Zoning Approvals or something like that, and they kind of denied the approval of that. At that time, they said it was going to be 72 units. They weren't going to put a fence around it. The sticking point they had was that the attractive nuisance was available from all these people going to live in these apartments, climbing over the fences, getting into my office, getting into Walmart, getting into McDonald's. And then the highway department was supposed to put a crosswalk over there by that intersection at Richland Avenue and Gregg Avenue. And that was one of the conditions of that zoning meeting we had back then 3 years ago. So I'm not in favor of this at all. Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else to speak against this application? Comments? Okay, commissioners. Do I have a motion?
You ready?
Make a motion to approve the application, send to the city council approval for the applicant of Taft Mills Group, application number 24-22005, tax parcel number 0787180808. Convert current zoning office, proposed zoning PR. I noticed in the possible conditions of the report has 6 conditions. 7. I'd like to add 3. Number 8, add up to 29 additional parking spaces, or as many as can be placed on there, given all the other requirements. 2, that a median be installed on each entrance, I assume about 10 feet wide. And third, number 10, that 2 right turn slots will be added to, one to each of the entrances as well. There was a comment from the applicant to extend the transfer of ownership to 18 months. I think the board should discuss that.
Okay, well, you made a motion, so somebody will have to second your motion.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. A motion by Mr. Messina, with the 7 conditions listed, questioning the 18 months and the additional comments. Okay, open for discussion for the commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the parking, I'm going to take one item at a time. I think it may be best to turn this back over for administrative approval to the planning department, depending upon how they're able to maneuver buildings and parking lot, curb cuts, et cetera. I don't want to necessarily see a lack of detention or retention on the site for stormwater by adding in 5 additional parking spaces, and nor do I want to see them lose the green space that they need to maintain. So I would rather turn that administratively over to the planning department. In regards to the monument piece, I'm okay with. The right turn necessarily, I don't know if that's in our purview.
I think that's a DOT. I mean, these guys are going to have to submit a permit plans to DOT. Yeah. And DOT's going to do what's necessary for proper traffic flow. So I do have an issue putting conditions on something that I think's outside of my.
I think we can put the conditions subject to South Carolina DOT approval.
Well, it needs to be clear that the conditions like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's.
I have an issue with inundating them with more parking. I'm with you on. I understand what you're saying, but based on the applicant's comment that these are conducive to the developments that they do, I'm somewhat in favor with Commissioner Rabin about putting a certain number, while it could be reviewed by administratively. If they can put more without messing up the project, great. I mean, I think they can, but I think putting a number on there.
Yeah, I think adding additional parking would be very beneficial, but I don't want to skew them to an exact number. So I would turn that over to the planning department. And then lastly, having been in commercial finance for 15 years, I understand the tax credit piece and how long that may take. So I'm okay with extending that. I think 18 months may be a little long, but
Is
again,
18 months industry standard in your world?
it's all dependent upon federal funding.
Well, I know we can't.
Yes, that's pretty standard. The agreement we have with the sellers would be June of 2025. So if you want to tie it to that specific date, we'd be comfortable with that.
So the sellers are already aware of that date.
Yep, they've agreed to that.
Okay.
June 1st or
June 30th, I
June
believe.
30th. Okay.
Of 25.
Yep.
Yes.
Anybody have heartburn with that?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, I can just, I
Yeah,
think
go
I
ahead.
stated it, and just to clarify my motion, that it would be, in terms of the parking spaces, would be up to 29, depending on.
Okay.
We just need to get the language.
Review of open space, stormwater requirements.
Okay. Well, let's restate the conditions.
Okay.
Just for the record, so we're clear on what we're voting on. Everybody okay with that?
I'm fine.
Okay. So Pete, if you could, the motion's been made. Hold on, the motion's been made with the revision of the transfer of ownership to a certain date, and then your motions, your additional conditions. If you could clearly state those, it's already been seconded. We're just clarifying the language, and then we can move to a vote or more discussion.
Okay, so to
Clarify it, please.
Adding number 8,
Let's start at number 7 because that's the transfer of ownership.
18 months.
within 18 months.
June 30th of
June 30th.
2025. I'd rather you put a date on that.
Okay.
Okay, that the possible conditions listed on page 4 be, number 7 be changed to say that transfer of ownership occurs within, by June 30th, 2025. Number 8, that the applicant will seek to revise the plans to add up to 29 parking spaces upon approval of the planning departments in regards to open space, stormwater management conditions, and other site requirements.
Okay.
Number 9, that a median be of at least 10 feet wide be installed at each entrance to the site. Number 10, that right turn slots at each entrance be discussed and be made part of the plan, but discussed with the SCDOT and installed upon their approval. And also, I mentioned earlier, adding a number 11, that the handicap spaces be reduced from 10 to 5 as per ADA requirements, unless there's another workforce requirement that requires 10.
please. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we do just, I would need to double check and make sure that that would meet the South Carolina housing criteria for what we would need for the financing for the project.
So make that condition, that's kind of what I said, be reduced to 5 unless, or as per the South Carolina requirements for the workforce housing.
What do you want to add a condition?
My thinking is the goal is, up to 29 parking. Yep, thank you. Yep, so the goal is up to 29 parking. If reducing 5 slots for wheelchair accessible or ADA is part of that plan, then that will be a part of it. But if it's not part of that plan, then
I think we're getting to
in the weeds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we definitely.
let's it's a good development. He's got all the right things in space. Let's not monkey it up. Okay. I think Pete's described what he wants with the condition. Depending on a review with the planning. Up to those 25, 29, might not be 29.
Right.
Might be less.
Right.
Depends on what his housing act will let him do for the ADA.
Right.
And leave it at that.
That's it.
Okay.
That's fine.
So you've added. So you've included 11. So you've amended. Are you amending your motion? You need to amend your motion to include the 11th
That's
condition.
I'm amending motion to add the qualifications of 8 through 11.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Simmons is seconding the amended motion of the possible conditions listed. Okay. Did you get all that? Do you understand the conditions that we're discussing? And you understand, and you're okay with those? Okay. All right. Any other discussion from the commissioners? Comments? Okay. We will vote now on approval of this application for recommended to City Council for the conditions listed 1 through 11 as discussed. All those in favor, raise your hand. Like, sign, opposed, and it's unanimous. Thank you. You can excuse yourself unless you want to hang out for the rest of the meeting. Okay. Item E. This is application number 24-50004, utility service request for Shaw Street Water Treatment Plant for tax map parcel number 135-13-01-001 over on 1754 Columbia Highway North by the city of Aiken. These are city service requests for the new water treatment plant. I guess I don't have an applicant here.
City of Aiken.
City of Aiken, they'll have an applicant here tonight to speak on behalf of this. There we go.
Come on, Stuart.
Sorry, I didn't see you. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Good evening, Stuart Beedenbow, 111 Chesterfield Street, box 1177. Our new water plant to replace we'll decommission the one to the west, just across the highway. We'll continue to intake from that side, but this will be our new water plant once online, provided all necessary approvals, including this one, are granted.
Okay, great, thanks. Good deal. Any questions? All right. Anybody speak in favor or against or comments on this application? Okay, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, for application 24-50004, requesting city services for tax parcel 135-13-01-001. I recommend we approve to City Council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Erb, second by Commissioner Matthews. Comments? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Like, sign, opposed, it's unanimous. Okay, we're coming to item F. These are a capital improvements program. that were omitted from the previous meeting that we need to vote on. We need to consider the rankings of the project listed in the submitted capital improvement program for 2024 through 29. The commission is tasked with making a recommendation to the city manager as part of the budget process. Rankings may be reordered, and additional items may be suggested as part of the commission's motion and vote. Do I have a motion on this application?
I'll make a motion.
Come on.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in regards to the capital improvement program, I move that we accept this and send it to City Council for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Matthews, second by Commissioner Erb. Comments, questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Like sign opposed, it's unanimous. Okay. So unfortunately, for item C, which is the SRNL mixed-use building on Newberry Street by the city, 3 of the commissioners up on the panels have to recuse ourselves for a conflict of interest. And unfortunately, Commissioner Clarkson has still not made it back. I don't think he's going to get here in time for this meeting, and so that leaves us without a quorum to vote on this application. So I'm sure many of you are here to speak about this application. So we can't bring it up to the panel tonight because we don't have a quorum. So we can't even bring it up to argue or go pro and con. So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Marvin. We got to bump it over to next month.
That's correct. I think we're just gonna have to continue it. I guess we can discuss what needs to happen as far as potential work sessions with DRB. That those may continue, but we definitely have to get this done before it can go through formal vote with DRB.
So the public is welcome to the work sessions.
For the correct,
For
that
the
will
DRB.
be open to the DRB work sessions will be open to the public.
Okay. So this still has to come back through city planning, and we'll hopefully be able to pass this at our, when is our next scheduled meeting?
April 9th.
April 9th. Masters Week. I'm sure nobody will be doing anything that week.
That's unfortunate too, but.
So this is very important to the city. This is extremely important to the city. And so I hate we can't get it done, but we just are missing a body. So that's kind of where we are. So apologies to the applicant and folks have come to speak on behalf of this or against it, but we will have to table this until our next meeting. So with that being said,
Comments, it seems like you got comments from the floor.
I'd love to. We could sit here and what's on your mind?
Thank you.
I'm fine with waiting.
Hold on. We'll try to reach out to him here. He's driving back from the Augusta airport.
Just got out of his car.
Let's get an assessment where he is. I agree. We can we adjourn?
Recess?
So let's make a motion for a recess. So let's make a motion for a recess. Second, do I have a second?
Chairman, in regard to application 24-91002, I make a motion that we take a recess for the next 30 minutes.
Okay, motion for recess for 30 minutes. Do I have a second? Okay, so all those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, come on now. It's unanimous. All right, so we're going to take a little recess. If he gets here sooner, we will bring this to the table for discussion. So sit tight. let's resume. Y'all can take your seats, please. Yeah, come back in the session. All right. Okay, so I need a motion to, I guess, resume our meeting.
Make a motion to resume our meeting?
Second.
Okay, motion to review the meeting in second. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous, so we'll welcome Commissioner Clayton. Appreciate you making the effort.
Thank you for the grace. I appreciate it.
We're going to be talking about item C, which is the public project review of application number 24-91002 for the tax parcel numbers as listed. This is the city of Aiken for the mixed-use building on Newberry Street. Property owner is LED of Aiken, Inc. For 1 acre, and this is downtown business. Before we start, I want to make sure that it's clear what we're voting on tonight is that this application is in conjunction with the comprehensive plan. And that's all we're voting on. If you have any comments or further pros or cons for it, the design review board meeting would be the best place to discuss that when they get to that point. But tonight, all we're voting on is to consider the proposed development and hold our hearing and make a finding regarding consistency with the comprehensive plan. So we're not talking about the design, the location, we're talking about consistency with the comprehensive plan. So I want to make sure that's very clear. All right, second, there are 3 of us that have to recuse ourselves from this application tonight. Commissioner Erb, Commissioner Raven, and myself. So at this time, I will turn it over to the most senior ranking planning commissioner, Commissioner Matthews, to conduct the business of this application.
Once again, good evening, everyone, and we thank you out for being here tonight for this important review for the city. We thank Commissioner Clayton for getting here. We thank you all for asking for the grace, but at the same time, we already heard all the comments that we're only voting on the comprehensive plan. So is anyone here tonight that's want to speak in favor? Or the applicant?
Thank you, Charles. I'm Cam Scott with Cheadle Fletcher Scott Architects, and I reside here in Aiken at 1009 Murray Court, Aiken.
I'm Richard Fletcher. I live in North Augusta. I'm Cam's partner, and we have another partner, Sarah Harper, with us tonight. She's the interior designer. We're the architects.
Right. So we'll just give you a little overview of what we're doing here. This is the Newberry Street here, and so we are proposing this 3-story building to be pulled close to the front of Newberry Street to continue the urban fabric that's established downtown Aiken. We've been trying to balance the massing of the building with the parking that we need on site. We're proposing 39 parking spaces along the south border of this site, and then we're also trying to balance it with some green space on property itself.
We went through several iterations of the site plan, including one that had 59 parking spaces, but the city's team said they felt that was too intense for the site. Could we preserve some green space? And so you can see a couple of places there where we're proposing to do just that.
But we're pushing the building close to the north property line and trying to open up the south side is what we're trying to do. And we went back and forth about the building being on the south property line versus the north property line, but we felt like this gave us the number of parking spaces we were needing for this site, and also not impacting our neighbors as much. But we also proposing a service lane on the north side between our building and Buzz Rich's office. This would also serve as for catering kitchen equipment and vehicles coming in, as well as the dumpster on this side right here.
Yeah, one of our biggest concerns was not to crowd the townhomes with the building, and so that was a very conscious decision to push it north. We felt that the parking would be a far less intensive use next to those townhomes, and we want to be very sensitive to them. It is 3 stories, did you mention that?
Yes, 3 stories.
Each of the floors is about 16 feet floor to floor for the first, 14 floor to floor for the second and third. Total height is about 45 to 47 feet, which is slightly lower than the Maybaum building in the same block. This is a massing model that actually Tazera put this together, and it shows you that with the, say, the upper right image there, you can see the Maybaum building, and we're slightly lower than that. Our proposed building is in the light blue shading there. And if you look at the footprint of it in the left image there, compared to some of the other buildings around the block, it doesn't seem out of place as far as footprint goes. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, we're available to answer.
Thank you. From the commissioners, do anyone have any questions for the applicant?
The only comment I have, I think I mentioned earlier, I know we're only looking for the comprehensive plan, but I'd be remiss to talk about parking as an issue. I know you're putting as many parking spaces as you felt necessary on the site. There was a concept of slightly widening Newberry Street to get parking on both sides of the street. And I would just kind of urge you to work with the city and work with the SCDOT to see if that could happen. I think if you widen it like 3 feet, you can get parking on both sides.
That's a great point. You can see in the lower part of the
there's an
screen
indent
there where the curve does jog about 3 feet, and it does reduce that width so that you can't park on both sides. It's a great idea. I think Mark Costner is the one who first mentioned that, at least the first that I heard. And so that would be, I think, a great way to get some on-street parking there. And then, of course, maybe striping some streets slightly to the north.
Right.
Be something that we'd consider too.
And
Hildebrand is having those conversations with the DOT, and I think they're all positive. I think is your feedback you've got in Tilden.
out of curiosity, in that same vein, talking about parking, I know this number's going to fluctuate and vary, but approximately how many workers or people do you anticipate being in this building on a day-to-day basis?
75 to 100.
100?
Yeah, on the top 2 floors.
Mhm.
And then the first floor is going to be for meeting space, conferences, exhibits that SRNL might put together from time to time. And so we have one main meeting room there that would seat, I think, approximately 200.
Right. But that wouldn't obviously be daily use. That would just...
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But daily use would be approximately 100 people, give or take.
Yes.
Very good.
Right. That would be a need for 100 parking spaces, so it'd be good to study that a little further to see where you can find those.
Yeah.
Tilden, have you done enough study to know how many we can pick up going down Newberry and on further?
Tilden Hildebrand with Ashton Hildebrand. We looked at some additional parking on the street here in Barnwell. Also, this block of Newberry, and I think even maybe Chesterfield over here. We worked with DOT's District Office 7 in Orangeburg, and they said to provide a plan, but it looks like you could probably get 100 spaces just on the street in this area up here. I think there are like maybe 31 here now along the opposite side of Newberry. I've talked with some of the folks at St. John's, and they want to do whatever is necessary to add some parking. Actually, on the west side, actually it would be here, where you talked about this little notch out. They want to add some here
Right.
also. So there's opportunity for a good bit of parking in the neighborhood.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, just want to remind everyone, we thank you for your comments. We thank the commission for the feedback. The only thing we're really concerned with is the comprehensive plan. That's what we're voting on. The DRB is going to come up with all the logistics, what you all need to work with as far as what's taking place. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that being said, is anyone here that want to speak in favor?
Hello, Deborah Robbins, 208 Arbor Terrace, Aiken. And my husband, Richard Robbins, and we are the closest neighbors to this proposed building, and very much in favor with having them as a neighbor. And we've already had, the gentlemen have laid out and talked a little bit about the layout, but what I have pointed out to them, and I'll just share with you, as being one of the closest neighbors and most greatly impacted, going to have some of those individuals parking just about in my dining room. And that vehicle is parked 9 feet off the line. And this is with a privacy curtain. And so, and we just want to share this with you as it probably has nothing to do with the comprehensive plan, but nonetheless, you people will be greatly involved with this process moving forward. So just want to share that with, and we have shared that with these individuals, and we're still working on this. But anyhow, no, bring in the machinery. Let's get going.
All right, thank you. Anyone else that like to speak in favor?
Hi, good evening. My name is Jeff Ross, R-O-S-S, and I'm the owner at 212 Arbor Terrace. And so I'm in the corner unit. And so back a little ways, actually, the side of our unit is up against another public parking area behind Brave Friend and the New Moon. And so I just wanted to also state that, you know, we've been a downtown resident for over 20 years. You know, and appreciate the kind of thoughtfulness that, you know, the Planning Commission's gone about putting together a comprehensive plan for smart growth kind of in the downtown area. I'm supportive of this project. It would be good to have a long-term stable tenant associated with the development of that property adjacent to our townhomes on Arbor Terrace. I too, though, again, this may not directly be related to the, you know, the comprehensive plan, but, you know, have a concern regarding the parking adjacent to the buildings, not only with, you know, the lights, but also potentially with the noise, especially if that parking lot is open during the weekend evenings. You know, recently during the Mardi Gras celebration in the parking lot adjacent to my home, you know, there were vehicles playing loud music to the extent that our unit was shaking. I just about called Aiken Public Safety in order to remedy that, but they stopped and left. But anyway, so, you know, again, trying to work with the developer to try to remedy the situation so that we can have kind of the best of both in terms of being able to not impact our units. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Anyone here that would like to speak against the project? Are there any comments? Well, once again, I would just say this. We do realize that this is an old Aiken overlay district. What we vote on tonight will not go to city council. It will go to the design review board. You have opportunities again to go and stress your concerns there. And I'm quite sure the developers would listen to what you have to say as well as work with you, because we all realize that this is a major project that we need for the city. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your feedbacks. Now back to the commissioners.
Acting Chair, I'd like to make a motion that this Planning Commission approve this project as being consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Okay. We have heard the motion. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Let it be known.
Do we have some discussion first?
Want to have some discussion?
Yeah. Well, just real quick, Ms. Moultrie, the applicant mentioned that they originally had more parking spaces and the city told them maybe have a few less because of open space. Can you kind of give the city's perspective when it comes to the parking spaces, the open space? Because obviously 39 spaces for approximately 100 people daily usage, not including the special events that, you know, would come in periodically might be a bit of a concern. Can you speak a bit about that from the city's perspective?
I think primarily, again, just going back to the open space, trying to preserve as much as they could. And then just the caveat as well, the fact that they are in the central business district. Our zoning ordinance doesn't actually require off-street parking. So, and we also knew that there were opportunities to expand parking on just as Tilden discussed, along the roadways to try to accommodate that. So it's a balancing act, honestly.
Yeah.
But we did obviously want to maintain an open space so they can replan and buffer as they need to.
Gotcha. So from the city's perspective or city staff perspective, parking probably won't be a huge issue here.
No, we don't foresee that.
Thank you. Oh, and one other thing, I would just like to thank my fellow commissioners and the audience for giving me the grace of being a little late coming back from the airport. So thank you all for that.
It was much needed.
Yeah.
Are we ready for the vote? All in favor? Let it be known by raising your hand. Okay, thank you. Vote carried.
Do we need to have them back, or can we just?
Bring them back, or you want us to go?
Yeah.
I don't think they have to come back. They gone?
I guess Ryan has to officially close the meeting.
Okay. Golly.
Y'all did good.
Great job.
All right, all those in favor for adjournment? All right,
Yeah, there we go.
motion, second, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
You're welcome.